Your blood pressure is 145/95. You feel completely fine. No symptoms, no pain, nothing. So you ignore it. Big mistake. While you're going about your day feeling normal, your arteries are literally aging a decade faster than they should be. Tiny tears are forming along your artery walls right now, and the countdown to a stroke or heart attack, it's already started. Today, we're going under the hood to decode this genuine silent killer. Let's go. Okay, think about this for a second. What if there's a silent force inside you right now that's basically aging your organs, making them decades older than they should be? Seriously, what could be doing that? Yep, it's high blood pressure. You know, the medical term is hypertension, but honestly, its nickname, the silent killer, just hits different, doesn't it? And it's so fitting because most people have absolutely no clue what's happening until, well, the damage is already done. So if we want to figure out how to stop this thing, we've got to become detectives. We have to investigate the crime scene, which is, inside our own bodies. So first things first, what is this pressure we're talking about? Look, hypertension isn't some abstract idea. It's straight up physics. Just picture a garden hose with the water turned on full blast. If there's too much force, that hose is going to weaken, maybe even bulge, right? Well, it's the exact same thing happening inside your arteries. And remember, these aren't just any old pipes. They're the superhighways delivering all the good stuff, oxygen and nutrients, to every single part of your body. Now, before we dive into what's cranking up that pressure, I want to make sure you have a plan to actually do something about this. I've put together a free 7-day blood pressure reset with simple daily action steps, movement, nutrition, and mindset habits that support healthy blood pressure naturally. Links in the description. Grab it so you can start today. All right, back to the investigation. What determines the level of force in that hose? To get to the bottom of that, we need to dive into the mechanics of your body's internal plumbing. Let's see how this silent attack really works. It really boils down to 3 main things. First up, you've got cardiac output. Super simple. That's just how much blood your heart is pumping out. Then there's blood volume. Again, easy enough. It's the total amount of liquid you have in your system. But the third one, this is the one we really need to zoom in on. It's called resistance. And it's basically the friction your blood has to fight against as it tries to get where it's going. Now, don't get me wrong, volume and output are definitely part of the equation. But resistance? Oh man, that's the real game changer. It's often the single biggest difference between a healthy system and one that's under some serious, dangerous strain. So the million-dollar question is, what's causing all this friction? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is the state of your arteries themselves. See, healthy arteries are amazing. They're like brand new, super flexible hoses. They actually expand a little with every single heartbeat to kind of soak up the pressure. But unhealthy arteries, they're the opposite. They get narrow, they get stiff, they lose that give. So now the blood has to literally force its way through, and bam, that's when the pressure just skyrockets. And it doesn't stop there. There's another culprit we've got to talk about, and it's called blood viscosity. It sounds complicated, but it's just a fancy way of saying how thick or sludgy your blood is. Think about it. If your blood is packed with extra gunk, like fats and proteins, it stops flowing like nice, clean water and starts moving more like, well, sludge. And you can imagine your poor heart has to work so much harder to shove that thick gunk through your entire body. So you've got this trifecta of trouble: intense pressure, stiff pipes, and thick sludge. You can see how this is all heading towards a breaking point, right? So now, let's talk about how we actually spot the damage. And more importantly, when does it cross the line into being truly dangerous? Okay, so you've probably had your blood pressure checked at the doctor's, right? They give you those 2 numbers. Here's what they mean. The top number, the bigger one, that's the systolic pressure. It's the peak force when your heart is actively squeezing or beating. The bottom number, the diastolic, is the pressure when your heart chills out for a split second between beats. Ideally, you want to be somewhere below 120 over 80. But here's the number you really need to pay attention to. Once you start consistently hitting 140 over 90 or even higher, you've officially crossed over into the hypertension danger zone. And listen, this isn't just some abstract number on a chart, it's a massive warning sign flashing red. So, why is that number so scary? Well, picture that constant hammering pressure. It's literally causing tiny little tears, these micro injuries, all along the inside of your artery walls. Your body, being awesome, sends in a repair crew. But here's the problem. Those little patch-up jobs become like sticky flypaper for cholesterol and fat. And over time, that gunk builds up into something called plaque. This plaque makes the arteries even narrower, which cranks up the pressure even more. You see the vicious cycle we're getting into? And the long-term consequences of that cycle are frankly terrifying. A piece of that plaque can break off and travel to your brain, causing a stroke. It can completely block blood flow to your heart, triggering a heart attack, or that relentless pressure can just flat out wear out your kidneys until they fail. This is why it's called the silent killer. It works behind the scenes until one of these catastrophic events happens. Okay, I know that sounds like a lot of doom and gloom, but here's the good news. The science on this has come a long way. We have a much clearer picture now of what's really at the root of the problem. And that points us to a really powerful modern solution. You know, for decades, the advice was always the same, right? Just cut back on the salt. And look, for some people, too much sodium can increase blood volume, and that's not great. But we now know that's just one chapter of a much bigger book. For a huge number of people, the real culprit, the main villain of the story, is actually poor metabolic health. And this right here is the key. You have to get this. New research is showing that something called insulin resistance, which is basically when your cells start ignoring the hormone insulin, can be a primary driver of high blood pressure. And here's the thing. You can start addressing this today with simple lifestyle changes. That's exactly what the 7-day reset I mentioned earlier is designed to do. It gives you daily movement, whole food nutrition tips, and habits that support healthy blood pressure naturally. No complicated routines, just practical steps you can actually follow. Links below if you want to start right away. Now, let me explain why this metabolic connection matters so much. See, when your insulin levels are always high, it tells your kidneys to hang on to salt, and it can directly make your blood vessels stiffen up. It's literally the perfect storm for hypertension. So what does this mean for you? It means your first line of defense probably isn't found in a pill bottle. It's your lifestyle. Getting regular exercise is huge for keeping those arteries flexible. Managing your weight takes a massive load off your heart. And shifting to a diet that's full of real whole foods instead of processed junk and sugar can attack the problem from both sides. It improves your insulin sensitivity and it helps thin out that sludgy blood. And then, there are a couple of absolute non-negotiables. We have to talk about them. Smoking is just straight up poison for the delicate lining of your arteries. It makes them stiff and practically begs plaque to start building up. And drinking too much alcohol, that can also send your blood pressure climbing over time. These two are just deal breakers for artery health. Here's a good way to think about it. Medications are incredibly important, and for many people, they're absolutely necessary. But what they often do is manage the symptoms. They might be forcing excess water out of your system or artificially slowing your heart rate. But the lifestyle changes we're talking about, they go deeper. They can address the source of the fire, not just stamp out the sparks. And so often, that source is our metabolic health. So when you boil it all down, it really comes to this. Your body is this incredible high-performance machine. It's amazing. So the question you have to ask yourself is this: are you giving it the premium fuel and regular maintenance it needs to run like a dream? Or are you letting stiff pipes and internal sludge just slowly grind the whole thing to a halt? It's a big question, but the power to decide the answer is absolutely in your hands. Here's what I want you to do next. Download that free 7-day blood pressure reset. It's in the description below. It'll give you a clear daily action plan to start addressing everything we just talked about. And if you want the complete 30-day system with DASH diet meal plans, progressive fitness challenges, and daily tracking tools, that's also linked below. It's the full roadmap for taking control of your blood pressure naturally. Your future self will thank you for taking action today. I'll see you in the next video.